We're here today with Bill from Ham Radio Tectonic on YouTube, uh, and we're at the Moore Expo here at the Dixie Amateur Radio Club's emergency communications trailer. Um, you were telling me a little bit about how you got started on amateur radio. Can you tell our audience about your POTA and
Well, I'll tell you, it started with I was a kid of the '70s and my dad had CB, and I thought it was magic that you could. And he was into electronics, so every popular mechanics workbench project, he built radios, he built his stereo system. He was good at carpentry, so he'd build the cabinets. So I grew up in a house. My dad was a maker. He didn't know it, but he was a maker. So I was always interested, and I was a Boy Scout. So one of the Boy Scout leaders was a ham, but he also did CB skip, and he couldn't get us interested. But I remember the demonstrations. He talked to a guy from Illinois. He talked to somebody in Ohio, and I remember that. So then I became a pilot, and every navigational aid was in Morse code. So I kept getting these reminders, and I like radios, and I use radios at work. And I pulled the trigger somewhere. I think I was in Virginia or something, stranger to everybody. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a ham club. And I went and I tested and got my technicians
awesome?
and started there. And with the QRP thing, I made that mistake of starting with QRP. I figured, I didn't know any better. Oh, I better get low powered because I have low knowledge.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. So I couldn't contact anybody. I don't know if it was a low or a high in the solar cycle, but then I turned to YouTube and I saw Dave Kassler and Tad somebody. He built antennas, and I started getting a little bit more knowledge. Your antenna is the basis. So I'd build an antenna. I started building antennas. I made more antennas than I did make contacts.
Wow.
And then maybe I found the old MISNet first, and I started making contacts and slowly picking up information and learning things, and then POTA. By that
The
time,
net was really I tried that for when I first got into HF, and they were real helpful to me.
instrumental because they want you there. Because
Right.
there's somebody out there, wherever you are, somebody wants to talk to your state. So they
Right.
want to talk to you, and check that box for worked all states, or check that box for worked all states on 40 meters. So then I found POTA, and I just went nuts, and I met some YouTubers, and here I am today.
Do you think that POTA is becoming something that more people are doing
Oh,
than
absolutely.
before?
Absolutely. There are more people doing it because it's been popularized. And once you do it, human beings want to solve puzzles. They want to complete tasks. We're programmed. We're wired to do that. And once it falls into your brain that I'm going to go out and get 10 contacts, you're going to work to get those 10. And you get satisfied. I did it. And you're going to do it again and again and again. Most people.
And it becomes kind of addictive.
Yes, yes, yes.
And with overlanding, are you into overlanding?
I only a little bit. I have friends. I'm into being prepared, and I'm into those things that are having a vehicle that can handle situations. But I'm not really an overlander. I'm here with some buddies who are hams who happen to be also overlanders.
What's your favorite part about POTA?
Being able to accomplish it, being able to take, in my case, a lot of QRP radios out with a battery. It's the same spirit as Field Day. I didn't know about Field Day because I didn't start with the club. I learned about Field Day later. Being able to start with a QRP radio that I built, oh my gosh, I built this. It works. It turned
That's
on.
amazing, yeah.
Now I can make it talk to somebody in Seattle, and get a good. Oh my God, I got a good signal report. It's the idea of the spirit of Field Day, being able to go out with minimal kit and get the communications done.
Right.
and and get those 10 contacts. I did it. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's it.
What do you cover in your channel on YouTube mostly about ham radio?
I'm kind of eclectic. The thing that, because I would make mistakes or I'd go out and do something unconventional and it would work, I found out that the rules of thumbs that maybe some Elmers, and being an Elmer myself in different fields, I get it. An Elmer, like, don't bother with that. Do it this way, because I know that it works.
Right.
There's other ways that work. So when I would hear someone say, "Oh, that won't work," I go, "Oh, yeah, it does," but I'd be talking to myself. Yeah, it does. Oh, that won't work. Yeah, that works. You can't do it any other way. Yeah, you can. You can do it some other way. Was the spirit of my channel. Letting other people who, like me, don't have an avenue to bounce this off of. No. First of all, if I can do it, you can. But letting other people know that that perfect way, that one-to-one SWR, that angelic setup is not the only way that you can have fun with ham radio.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, our one of our officers in the club, he has a saying. He says, "For those of you that say it can't be done, get out of the way of those doing it." And I've always
Exactly,
liked that.
exactly. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So one of our officers at Nixon Amateur Radio Club here. Do you have any advice for somebody who maybe comes to the Moore Expo and sees amateur radio setups like this and has an interest but doesn't know what to do? What would you recommend?
Wow. So first of all, there's a couple of. First of all, find a local club. Find someone who's willing to help you. Find someone, or find a partner who's in the same spot you are, so you have a little backup.
Right.
And then find. People say there's no more animals. Yes, there are. They're local. Maybe not where you are, but they're on YouTube as well. I have a group that I turn to. Find someone who's gonna help you. Listen to the guy who's offering you advice, who realizes that you're new and you need help, and then keep listening and keep learning. Yeah, and don't be afraid. Get out there and make contacts. There were guys, for instance, I learned CW afterwards. There were guys who were better than me in CW who kept saying they weren't ready, and I had already made 10 activations.
Oh, wow.
People, not only on CW, they inhibit themselves because they don't want to make a jerk out. They don't want to look bad.
Right.
Forget
Embarrass
that.
themselves.
Forget that. Remember when someone likened it to learning how to walk.
Right.
You can walk fine now, but you fell a bunch of times before you got to this point, and that's okay.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, Bill. Tell us when you post new content on your.
I'm a little erratic. Every 1 to 2 weeks, I'll post. I call it the eclectic channel, but I'm going to do a little bit of everything: microcontrollers, antennas, QRP operations. Um, you know, I don't have a regular schedule.
They can probably subscribe though and get notified. So,
Yes,
yeah.
and be if you have an idea, if you know what, jump in the comments and tell us your story. Tell us your story. And I tell you what, if I don't know it, I know someone who does. I've got a wealth. I call it a wealth of individuals who know something about these subjects, and they know people who know some more, so we can get you pointed in the right direction.
Awesome.
Right.
That sounds great. I thank you for spending some time with
Oh.
us today and our viewers, and we hope to see you again next year.
It was a pleasure. You will. You will.
Thank
Nice to meet you, Billy.
Nice to meet you. And we'll be back after this.